So, if you aren't familiar with my channel, I make family trees for Warriors characters where I try to come up with genetically realistic explanations for the characters' designs, changing as little about them as possible. Recently, someone on Tumblr suggested that I play Clan Gen and try to do the same thing, make genetic sense out of the random cats I'm given. I think that sounds awesome and fun as hell, and actually some fans have sent me their own versions of that challenge, which I adore seeing. But I already have a Clan Gen series on my channel where I play Gmod. Gmod rules, but I play it more or less identically to how I play normal Clan Gen, so if I wanted to do this challenge, I had to think of a way to shake it up a little so it wouldn't look too similar to my existing Clan Gen series. Enter Lifegen. In this Clan Gen mod, you play as a single cat, making choices, forming relationships, and living one complete life from start to finish. There is a Gmod version of Lifegen, and it also rules, but playing that would do all the work for me, so that's not what I'm doing today. This is normal, standard Lifegen. A few things before we start. One, I am not going to figure out the genes of every single cat, because there's undoubtedly going to be a lot of them. I'll be sticking to cats who I'm related to, the immediate family of cats who are important to me, or the story, like my mate, my best friend, so on, and other important cats like the leader or medics. Two, when I make Warriors family trees, though I may take insight from art, my gospel is the character's written description. Clan Gen, however, has sprite work first and foremost. That gives me a lot less leniency. For example, if someone calls a cat yellow, there's a ton of ways I can make that work, but if you see the cat and they are already a specific shade of yellow, that's much more restrictive. Because of that, you're going to see a lot more changes to the quote-unquote canon sprites than I would permit of myself in a Warriors family tree. And 3, designs will change. In a Warriors family tree, I have everyone already laid out for me, and I can approach them in any order I want, but the nature of a linear game means that I don't start knowing everyone's family. I might think I have someone figured out, and then oops, they have a weird kitten, and I need to rethink their entire genome. That's the nature of the beast. It sounds fun, it sounds hard, and I'm excited to give it a go, while telling the story of my character along the way. I hope that making myself a tortoiseshell will make my life easier. Actually, let's go low white calico, because I love low white calicos. I'd love to say that I'm going long hair because it's recessive, but it's actually just because I love long hairs. No scars, I'm a baby. I'll get accessories later. Oh, I do like those yellow eyes. Sunlit ice is so pretty. I do have blue. I can do blue if I want. I do have white. I would do of white. That'll work. Female. I'm not gonna put myself in that corner. Random skill might be fun. You know what, yeah, let's go random skill. Let's see who I end up. Not gonna give myself any conditions. Persistent he. Persistent he. The sillies. Cricket kit. A new hand touches the beacon. A new cricket touches the kitten. God, all of these backgrounds in Clan Gen, especially the ones added in Lifegen, are just gorgeous. I love clans set in two-leg places. Oh, we're gonna go for this church-ass building. I'm gonna say it's an abandoned church. It's in the grassland, like, plains category, so that means the patrols are gonna involve, like, digging. I'm gonna pretend that that's not digging in the dirt, but, like, navigating pitch-black tunnels under the crumbling church that were once, like, staff-only places. I don't know much about churches, but they have, like, narrow corridors and weird backstage basements sometimes, right? And this place is old, it's abandoned, it's falling apart, it's probably dark as fuck down there. I call this ShimmerClan, and I'm thinking about the idea of, like, maybe we're named after the stained glass windows. The church we've taken over, I'm world building now, the church we've taken over is on the outskirts of this small Twin Peaks-ass town in the Pacific Northwest. It has a small population, it struggles a lot with poverty, so there's countless buildings that are abandoned and falling apart like this one. And we'll find out who the other clans are when we get in, I'm really excited. Alright, what looks like stained glass here? That's a little too on point, I think. This'll work. It looks like stained glass to me. Full disclosure, I did do a bunch of save file editing before starting on any story. Lifegen tends to create clans with diverse backgrounds, and personally, I prefer my clans more canon style, mostly clan-born and lots of cousins and siblings, with outsiders really only coming in where needed to avoid incest. So I messed with all of that in the save file before starting. I did not touch anyone's appearance, just the relationships and backstories. I'm also going to be picky about changing people's names here and there. Okay, so let me show you what I did in terms of everybody's relationships to each other. Again, I didn't touch any appearances. I only touched the, relationships, names, ages, so on. Since I'm still a kid and much of this chapter is going to be introducing you to the clan as it stands when I was born, as I've gathered from my short time in it so far, I'm going to go over genomes in this series a lot quicker than I do in my Warriors family trees. Check out my cat genetics series if you're lost. So we have Slopestar here, who is siblings with Starling Fern, with Horseleaf as their dead parent. Our leader, Slopestar, and warrior Starling Fern are littermates. I picked Horseleaf to be their dead mom, and I do not remember why. Bad decision, honestly. She's cream, so she's going to need a calicoing over. There were probably better choices, but she's dead, who cares? She's ginger, so we don't know if she's genetically a tabby or not, and her only visible ginger is on her legs, so we have no idea what pattern she's expressing. Importantly, she's not silver. I was going to make both Slopestar and Starling Fern both blue-silver classic tabbies, but when I was color picking the art, Slopestar suddenly struck me as way more lilac, so that's what I'm going with. They're both classic and silver, though. Neither of their sprites have white, but because their mom is high white, again, I do not remember why I picked her. I was in full control of this. Why did I do this? She has nothing to give them but S alleles, and that means both of her kids are getting a small white. She's long hair, they're short hair, long hair's recessive, that means they're heterozygous. And a troublesome deputy. Okay, we're kind of a rebellious clan, I'm gathering. Deputy Chivepelt is the moon to Slopestar's sun, the blue Oni to his red. He's cold towards me in a way that suggests his rebellious nature is very focused and stern. I mean, I guess it makes sense. You know, if you've got a childish, creative, problem solver kind of leader, they'd pick someone unconventional for deputy. They seem like opposites, but are very close. Slopestar is a creative problem solver who doesn't let the world get him down, but Chivepelt is there to bring him back to ground level when he needs it. Neither of them give a fuck about rules. Well, sure, I'm important, but never too important to spend time with my clan's great future warriors. Now tell me, how are you liking life in ShimmerClan? You growing up okay? Everybody treating you well? If anything ever bothering you, or there's something on your mind, don't hesitate to speak up. This clan's full of cats who want to help you grow up to be the best version of yourself you can be. Myself included, okay? I like Slopestar. Now go play, and make sure you save a game for me later. I like Slopestar. I like this guy. I've picked up on a kind of rivalry with Ice Clan specifically that suggests to me they're very dogmatic in a way that maybe Chivepelt feels defensive against. No, okay, fuck Ice Clan. I see why we don't like them. They seem like they have a stick up their ass. Her sister is Minowmore, who is also high white, but black and solid. And also, way more fun. Hey, Pipsqueak. Sure, I'll play a game. What do you want? Moss Ball, Feather Toss, Hunt the Pebble, Leader of the Hill? Why do I know so many kit games? Heh, you think you're the only little tyke who's ever wanted a game with old Minowmore? Oh, I like you. Guess I'm more popular around the nursery than you might have thought. Say, there's this fun game you might not have heard of yet. I can teach it to you, if you want. I made their parent another dead guy, Whitepelt. Whitepelt was a high white black silver tabby of an unknown non-ticked pattern. Evidently she was heterozygous for that silver because neither of her kids got inhibitor. She was also carrying a little D that she gave to Chivepelt and a little A that she gave to Minowmore. We spawned in immediately with some extremely juicy gossip. I didn't even do this. Shadowflake was already mates with Blotchcloud. This is the medic. That's gonna be really interesting. They have two kits together, Wisteria and Gardenia. Again, I didn't do that. That happened. In fact, I rolled over to get born, and the first thing that happened is that Blotchcloud is pregnant again. Shadowflake is just a brown-spotted tabby. He's also really spiteful towards all of us kits and seems to hate our presence. I think he wants to raise his kids, and he's mad about it, so he's projecting. Anyone who thinks these things are cute must be delusional. You're the medic. Oh, you know what? He's deflecting. He has kits. He's trying to be like, me? Sad that I can't raise any kittens. Move. Blotchcloud needs treatment. Okay. No, she doesn't. She has a running nose. Chill, man. Blotchcloud is simple, ginger, high white. Ginger is epistatic to non-agouti, which means ginger cats always express as tabbies, even if they don't have the genes for it, so we don't know if she's got a capital A agouti or not. We run into another classic tortoiseshell problem because Gardenia kit is black-based, but Ginger is sex-linked codominant. I wasn't sure which one to torty up, but spoilers, one of her kits in the next litter is also black-based. It's less disruptive to change one design than multiple, so Blotchcloud is taking an express train to Torty Town. If you're new here, yes, cryptic torties exist, and high white on a calico can be especially useful for hiding unwanted base colors, but personally I consider cryptic torties to be cheating and will not be doing that. But if you give her some black, won't you need to decide if she's a tabby or not? Watch me conveniently place her only splotch of black right on top of a stripe to absolve myself of responsibility. What do you mean I can't play with her yet? Aw, oh no, you have purple eyes. Oh no, Ravenpaw. Also, since she's high white, Wisteria Kit needs some white. Gardenia Kit already has some, so that's fine. Also, how did you get pregnant that fast? You are currently raising... Hold on. Girl! I don't think it's possible. These are 2 moons old. Girl, put the dick away. Blotchcloud is our mediator, despite being possibly the least responsible cat in the entire clan, but I don't know her very well outside of that yet. So these 3 sisters, and I made them all belong to Marigold Fern here, who's a tortoiseshell. Onto my family, we had 3 black smokes, so I went ahead and just made all of them sisters. We also had another tortie in the clan named Marigold Fern, and she's old as fuck. I thought it'd be cool if I looked like grandma, so she's my grandma now, mom to all of these black smokes. A weird, bad tortoiseshell. We're gonna have to accept that there's only so much that I can do. This isn't written there's only so much I can do, guys. I'm not a miracle worker. So I've made her a blue mackerel torby, and she's short hair. She's got 2 long-haired daughters, so she'll have to be heterozygous about it. No white and no inhibitor, which means my unknown grandpa must have been the white and inhibitor guy. Since she's blue, which is dilute black, she has 2 little D alleles, and thus all of her non-dilute kiddos are going to be heterozygous. One of which is my mom, Poppytail. Again, I didn't do this. Poppytail is trans female. And then my other mom is Logstripe, who is my birth mom. My aunt Sandcloud is the family's only short hair. I went scouring around Google looking for short hair smokes who don't display stripes, and I couldn't find any, so I suppose Sandcloud has to be ghosting ticked. Sandcloud is strict, fierce, and has high expectations for her family, especially her kids. It's a positive relationship, and she's fostering those expectations more than judging them, but they do feel a pressure to live up to her that make them act annoyingly mature from a pretty young age. Fierce proficient tracker. I mean, I guess that stands to reason with your kids being stoic if you're fierce. I imagine you have very high expectations for them. Sandcloud purrs when you waddle up to her. Aww, my aunt loves me. But I love my cousins. They're cool. Mudpaw always takes time to include me, even when I don't want to be included, because they're doing boring adult stuff. Mudpaw sharply prods you with the side of a paw while you're lounging in camp. Look alive, Cricket Kit. Time to start the day. I know you need your rest, but all ShimmerClan cats need to contribute, including you. I am a kitten. With that, she trots away with a swish of her tail. You don't want to disappoint Mudpaw, but the sun is so warm and you can feel your eyelids growing heavier by the second. What do? I am a baby. But I guess I'm a lonely try-hard baby. Let's go. You reluctantly rise and stretch your limbs, shaking scraps of sleep from your fur. It hurts to leave your comfy spot behind, but Mudpaw's approving nod from across camp makes everything worth it. Aww, I'm a try-hard. Tulip Paw has less patience, though. How about for the future, we set up a policy where you only come and find me if you really, really need something, okay? Poppytail also isn't showing any stripes, but she's a long hair, so that's normal. We have no idea what she's got for her agouti modifier since it's all blurred by the fluffy pelt. Despite also being long hair, though, we know that my other aunt, Ashfang, is ghosting Classic. Classic is recessive to Mackerel, so Marigold Fern is now carrying Classic underneath her Mackerel. Classic and Mackerel are allelic, and Classic is little MC, recessive to Mackerel's capital MC. Poppytail is a super attentive and fun mom, but every time she played with me, the clan expressed shock that she was, laughing and playing games. She's normally very stoic and grumpy, but she lights up around kids, especially her own.
Cricket Kit, you want a badger ride? Come on, then. You clamber up onto, the rest of the years with you. She's always fun and gentle.
I also don't have any siblings. I think I'm the only one who survived of my litter, which I'm sure won't lead to me being spoiled at all. Side note, just like how I'm interpreting descriptions of Warriors characters with the knowledge that they aren't intended to refer directly to real phenotypes, I don't care what the game says a given sprite pattern or color is. I'm looking at the sprites and interpreting based on what I think they could qualify as. The pattern that the game calls Tabby looks like it could go either way between Mackerel and Classic, so you'll forgive me if I'm inconsistent about assigning it accordingly. Onto my XX mom, Logstripe. She is a high white ginger classic long hair. She's also an absolute give no fucks rebel who does not care who hears her say ACAB. Every time I spoke to her in the nursery, she was lecturing me on how breaking rules is cool and good. Every single time.
Another soul chained by the clan's traditions and warrior code.
Oh no.
Maybe, just maybe, she'll be the one to break free, to see the world for what it really is.
So I have a rebellious parent. That's fun. Trusted advisor and out-of-the-box thinker. Oh, interesting.
When you grow up, Cricket Kit,
You'll see that sometimes breaking the rules can lead you to greater truths. The warrior code isn't everything. Keep an open mind, okay? This group of 4 are like the clan's deadliest gossip club. They are the judging you sisters. What's funny is that these 3 blood sisters are all very serious, stoic folks. And then there's the in-law, who is the laziest, most loud-mouthed, shameless bastard in the world. Oh, that's easy. I told Chivepelt that if she didn't let me catch up on some much-needed beauty rest, I'd release her secret to the whole clan. What's the secret? Oh, well, I'd love to tell you, but unfortunately, when secrets stop being secrets, they lose their value. Logstripe is scary. I'm glad she's my mom and not my enemy. Oh, I didn't realize you guys were mates. Hell yeah, I didn't do that. I didn't even check for that. Larchfleck and Ashfling. Okay, cool. Larchfleck isn't related to anyone yet, but is pretty clearly a blue-spotted tabby, so that's straightforward enough. No white means I must steal the blue from his eyes. Get greened. Despite being the perma-queen, Larchfleck sucks shit with kids. You don't know how to talk to kids. You're the queen. Dude. I get the feeling they do like kids, but have more interest and skill in organizing and protecting us than in playing with us. Like, he's there to make sure we do our chores and go to bed on time, because that's important to him. He's grumpy, and I don't like him very much. It's past your bedtime, Cricket Kid. Into your nest, now. Don't make me ask you again. One of the first things that happened was Larchfleck and Ashfang having a huge fight and breaking up, but then they immediately got back together and Ashfang got knocked up, so I guess it worked out. Ashfang is aloof and a very perceptive judge of character. Similarly, Larchfleck is cold, but great at coordinating and corralling people, and has a surprising amount of insight into relationships. They're both very much not the kinds of people you would expect to be hyper-empathetic, but they are. I gather that this causes problems in their relationship. Both of them can tell very easily when the other is upset, but neither wants to talk about their own feelings, only the others. So it's a rocky relationship, but they do love each other. That's why it's so frustrating. As for myself, I am a low white calico. I got really lucky with this parent spawn. I have a high white mom, a ginger mom, and a no white black Y chromosome, X chromosome motherfucker. I got really lucky with I was right to go with a tortoiseshell. I'm not a tabby, but my ginger patch is ghost mackerel. Logstripe is classic, so that means I got the mackerel from my other mom, Poppytail, whose tabby modifiers, you'll recall, are invisible thanks to fluff physics. I'm a long hair, and so are both of them. And then there's these two, Tulip and Mudpaw, who are Sandcloud's kids. My cousins, born to Sandcloud and an unknown father, are Tulippaw and Mudpaw. Like I said earlier, they both started getting very into warrior stuff and acting all grown up very young because Sandcloud treats them maturely and expects them to act maturely. Looking at Mudpaw, this doesn't correlate directly to any real phenotype. It's too dark for fawn, so the closest I can call it is lilac. That means Sandcloud is carrying little b, which codes for chocolate, underneath her capital B for black. We already know she has little d for marigold fern. Sandcloud isn't a tabby, so unknown father has the capital A, whoever he was. Tulippaw, however, is solid white. Tulippaw's all white, so whoever Sandcloud banged must have been some Farquaad shit. And all 3 are short hairs. Oh, right, Basil Storm is here. I'm gonna be honest, I forgot Basil Storm existed. So, blue silver, classic tabby short hair. I'll leave you unrelated to anyone living. Thankfully, his personality is cold, so he probably just keeps to himself. We haven't spoken. I don't see him around camp much. Maybe he's kind of our patrol guy. Okay, adventures begin. Oh my god! Starling Fern immediately died. That's so sad. Starling Fern just died saving their sibling's life. Dude, he has like 6 more of them. You didn't need to do that. Rest in peanuts, Starling Fern. I did not know you. But where there is death, there is life. There are new babies in the nursery. I must poke them, as is my StarClan given right as a fellow kitten in the nursery. Dustkit rolls around in the nest, getting a feeling of his surroundings. Bucket has managed to wiggle her way out of her nest and is trying to make her way out of the nursery. No, I'll stop her! Dustkit is more or less genetically identical to Wisteria Paw, including needing some added white. Bugkit is the other black-based baby who turned her mom calico, and Bugkit, I realized as I was drawing them, looks suspiciously similar to her dad. I wonder if that's going to cause any problems down the road. Both of them are long hairs, so Blotchcloud is carrying the a little for that, little L. Bored, you kick a pebble across the clearing. Gardenia Kid, who happens to be nearby, catches the pebble and rolls it next to her. She passes it back, and you end up in a decently spirited back-and-forth game, passing a stone between the paws of warriors passing through camp. So far, other than my kick-ass cousin Mudpaw, my best friend is Gardenia Kit. Why not Wisteria Kit? Well, you ask Wisteria Kit if he plans on cheating, pulling your tail, or otherwise abusing you this time. Huh, you're no fun anyway. Before long, my awesome cousins had earned their full names. Oh, Tulip Stream, that's a lovely name. Tulip Paw is now Tulip Stream, and Mudpaw is now Mudfang. I'm so proud of them, I look up to them so much, even if Tulip Stream is kind of a bitch. What is it? Can't you see that I'm busy? You want to play a game with me? I haven't played since I was in the nursery. Do yourself a favor and find someone who has nothing better to do, like Minnow. Minnow did offer to play with me. Middlemore's cooler than you. Also, Chivepelt was injured by a hawk while protecting Larchfleck, who was probably protecting us. So, she looks like this now. As for my new nursery mates, Dustkit seems to have a strong sense of self-importance and doesn't like being treated like a kit, even though he is one. Mossball? That babyish game? I stopped playing Mossball moons ago. You are younger than me. Find something cooler to play, like Feather Catch. And Bugkit is easily bored, always looking for something to do. When can I get out of this boring old camp already? I want to go out and catch all the mouses and defend our territory from stinky Ice Clan cats. It's mice. Oh, okay. Mices. Your name is Bug because your parents saw my name, and, well, I guess your mom, I don't think your dad had a say in it. Your mom saw my name and was jealous, so shut up. Steps our chips over you on the way to the fresh kill pile! I'm sorry! I'm so tiny! You demand that Chivepelt give you a task or put you on patrol, just like the warrior she assigns you to the nursery. You take this new responsibility seriously. I've never seen that. That's so cute. Sadly, they're the two I'm stuck with, as my two previous nursery mates, including my best friend Gardenia Kit, are now paws. My bestie! Who have you been apprenticed to? Minnow. Oh, fuck yeah, I'm jealous. That means I don't get to have Minnow as a mentor. Damn. Meanwhile, Wisteria Paw's mentor is Basil Storm, so he'll be spending a lot of time on patrol. I'm a little lonely without them, so I'm gonna go ask Grandma Marigold Fern to tell me a story. Tell me a StarClan story. Whoa. Marigold Full System. It said that an ancestor spirit. Wow, I have not seen this feature. That's awesome. And then, I have a sibling, and I'm never letting you go. You're mine now. You're my sibling now. Some kitty pet ditched their baby on our territory, and now I have a little brother. I don't give a shit about the kitty pet, but Jade Kit is a chocolate classic short hair, and I would kill for him. Welcome to Warrior Training, Cricket Kit. Firstlings, let's pick that posture. Heads up, tail straight, chin, lift that chin. Great. Now show me your happy face. Good. Now show me your sad face. Excellent. Now show me angry. More anger. Bare those teeth. Think of me as a scary warrior who's about to attack your clanmates. You wouldn't want that, would you? Yes. Perfect. Pull those ears back a little more and wow! You actually look pretty scary. Second task. As a warrior, you must always know how to defend yourself. Hey! Did you just swipe at me? Don't knock me over. I didn't say fight yet. I love my new brother. I love my new brother so much. He's younger than me by 2 moons, which is the same age as Dustkit and Bugkit. As much as I adore him, sadly, I cannot stay in the nursery forever. It's time to get back to my bestie's side and start earning my keep. I'm just straight up gonna go warrior. Not gonna lie. Out of character, there was a little kerfuffle with who should become my mentor. I don't like letting folks mentor their own kits, and the game randomly selected Poppytail as my mentor, so I had to change that. To keep it random, I rolled a die, and ended up with 6. Okay, Mudfang. Wow! Hey, my cousin! Alright, I like Mudfang. We get along. I think that's a wise decision, Slopestar, that you definitely made and not me. Mudfang, my mentor, my cousin. She seems to realize what she's doing, sits up and fixes her usual scowl back on her face. I love her. Let's see what Tulip Stream is up to. The crisp air this leaf fall is putting me in the mood for revolution. Oh, you are taking after your aunt, parentheses, one of my moms. Your aunt-in-law. Let's see how my little brother is doing. Cricket Paw, why are some butterflies a different color than other ones? See, look! That one's blue, that one is yellow, and that one's white. Perfect question for a genetics challenge. Let me teach you about alleles. And I'm not the only one making an effort to stay in touch with my baby sibling. It seems like Wisteria and Bug are friends. 2 moons into my apprenticeship, another pair of cousins entered my family, and I can't believe I was ever that tiny. They are so small. Look at them! Cloverkit is carrying on the family tradition of being a black smoke. They're short hair, but not going to be ghosting any patterns, but neither parent is ticked. However, both parents are also long hairs, so being short hair isn't possible in the first place. 2 wrongs made a right here. I'll draw Cloverkit as a long hair, and that'll excuse the hidden ghost pattern. Problem solved. Figkit, on the other hand, is plain blue with no silver, just like Daddy Larchfleck. Larchfleck is spotted, which is polygenetically modified mackerel, but we know from Figkit being a classic tabby that he's also carrying Little MC. With that, I end this chapter of my life excited to start another. The last thing I'll do before I go is take some time to visit the Moon Grove, a beautiful, sparkling fountain in what was once a mansion's garden before something happened to its once wealthy 2 legs. There, the ghost of my maternal grandfather, who is ginger and heteroticked but needs some white so Logstripe can be an SS homozygote, gives me some words of wisdom.
You walk in the footsteps of many great warriors before you, yet your path is your own to shape. Trust in your heart, Cricket Paw, even when the night is dark. Even StarClan cannot foresee every twist in your path. Thank you for the world's most vague advice, Lightning Fur. I will forget it immediately. And that's it for this first chapter of Cricket Paw's life. This series is going to be a lot of work, but I'd love to pump out more. I'm very attached to the characters who come to beat so far. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye-bye!